Brilliant. All right. As far as I know, we are live. How are we doing, Sheree?
We're good. We're good. Just getting used to the unreal situation we're in right now, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyone going through this on the live or obviously on the replay, hit comment saying you're on. If you've got any questions, obviously we'll go through on this. Really what the point of these calls and everything going forward is ultimately just making sure we can focus on what we can control rather than the shit that has been, whether in gyms or whatever else, has been a bit weird over the last couple days, and obviously will continue to be for the next couple of weeks. So we're going to do a little deep dive. We've got a bit of presentation that we'll go through. Sheree's very well versed in this. Connect with her really, really well, and I think she's got some amazing stuff that will go through and be of massive value beyond what you typically are going to be reading, what you're going to be digesting on the internet, and making sure that obviously this time that you are at home, hopefully you have more control over what you're consuming, what you're doing around the house to keep your health up. We can kind of improve that and make it get better. Okay, so we'll bring it up on the screen and we'll take you through these three. Like I said, if there's any questions, obviously chuck them in the comments and I can get to them there. All right, so I'll let you take it here, Sheree.
Okay, so during this time, like Ollie said, it's really hard to control a lot of things around us, but the main thing we can focus on is what we're putting into our mouths. And from friends that are over in the States, I know that one of their biggest things have been like the snack accidents that are going on at home when we're in quarantine. So we want to make sure that you've got all the tools you need to actually make sure you're staying healthy, looking after your body, your immune system, taking care of those stress levels as much as you can, whilst you're getting accustomed to potentially working from home, which may be new for a lot of you, and just making sure you're not losing all the progress you have been making so far. So we're going to dive in with three different areas of conversation, and if you do have any questions, just feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll get to those.
Brilliant.
Cool.
All right, so the first one we want to dive into is obviously the stress in the gut, and I think Sheree's really smart with this one, and knowing that they're obviously combined and put together for so many reasons. So with obviously the comments and facts that she'll go through here, it's just really knowing that the whole way through this presentation, we want you to look at this more holistically. It's not macros and calories, and it's as far as nutrition it goes. We want to dive in deeper, and this is how you can adapt and move forward.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so often we do think it's just a matter of carbs, proteins, and fats, and what we're actually putting in our body is going to directly affect how we look. But stress can have a significant impact on our bodies, and at a time where the whole world is in a state of crisis, stress levels are obviously going to be a lot higher. With the crisis being particularly around having a nice, strong, healthy immune system, we do want to make sure that we're not letting that stress affect us in such a significant way that it's going to impact the immune system, because 70% of your immune system lives in your gut.
Yeah. What would you say you do when you're stressed, Sheree?
What would I do as in like a coping mechanism, or what would happen? So it can actually be, it sounds like super simple, but slowing down and taking 5 to 10 really deep breaths, it actually changes your nervous system over from being in that high stress, short breath, fast heart rate to being in like a nice, calm, parasympathetic state, which is when your body knows that it's okay, it's not in survival mode anymore.
Yeah, and I've done a couple of posts on this, and I love that response because, we're obviously in this, we've been addicted to this continuous external gratification, and whether that be your food, your alcohol, whatever, exercise for some people, and obviously going through this time, it's going to be like, shit, now I can't exercise twice a day and overtrain to get out of these bad eating habits. So being able to use something internally and be able to use that, going for a walk outside, going for just breathing, going through meditation practice, anything that just becomes an internal what you have control over, you have so much power within just that, rather than to just go, have a bender for 14 days with your alcohol. I know a lot of these shops, both in UK and New Zealand, are starting to be pretty low on the alcohol. And it's just because people are looking for this external need to calm their bodies down, not think about stuff, whatever they're doing there is trying to bring it back to what you really have control over. And you'll always come out the other end being like, I just feel so much better, so much clearer, and your body's functioning so much better.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that alcohol, whilst it's a bit of a coping mechanism at the moment, I think for a lot of people, the impact that has on the gut in itself is quite detrimental, and this inflammation it can cause, which then in turn causes more stress, which then makes us feel worse. So no, couldn't agree with you there more.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to be doing, especially over this, and this is kind of an action step for a lot of you if you aren't training nearly as much, is I'll certainly be going a lot higher fat with my diet, especially for the first half of the day. Just like those cravings, if you are someone that, you know, stands in front of the cupboard waiting for someone to jump out, it is very much you know, adjusting that way you eat to make sure you're not dipping and diving and trying to catch every craving. At the same time, it's also a really good awareness phase for you to start to look at how much you're snacking throughout the day, how much coffee you're taking in, that you're just trying to get through the day. And when you're at home, what can you really change and improve?
Yeah, and I don't know if you agree with this, Ollie, but something I'm going to be doing is actually cutting my meals down to just 3 a day, as opposed to having lots of little things throughout the day, because I'm not moving as much. I'm going to be sitting at a computer screen a lot more. You're not walking even to and from your car. You're literally stuck housebound, and a lot of people's houses aren't massive. So just being mindful that I probably don't need the same amount of intake that I was having a few days ago.
Yeah, I'm going down to 4, but that's from 4 or 5 or 6 perhaps. So same thing.
Yeah. So whilst we're talking on stress, the other thing to remember is, yes, while we're in a time of crisis, we're going to start to have a few negative thoughts pop into our brain. We're going to start to feel a little bit overwhelmed, and that's not to say that it's not going to happen, but we can again start to control this, and remembering that 70% of your serotonin, which is your happy hormone, is actually produced in your gut. So if you're putting the right foods into your body, you're nourishing your gut, letting the body absorb the right nutrients, then you're going to be fueling that happiness from the gut-brain connection in reverse, rather than focusing purely on having to use your brain to stay happy. If we're giving the gut the right nutrients, we can kind of work it both ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that concept, it's not something we can overemphasize enough, is knowing that if we're taking care of our gut, that's literally going to make us feel better. It's going to keep our stress lower, because we're not just eating our feelings and having that go down with it.
100%.
Cool. Is that all you want to go over on that page?
Yeah, I feel like we covered that.
Brilliant. All right. So next one is going to be, it's going to look like you're a primary school teacher and knowing that you need to eat your vegetables. But I know this is something in this phase, or at least in this group and in general, realm of bodybuilding or putting on muscle. Everyone's like, let's put more protein, more carbs, and whatever else, as we're trying to get more calories in. But you have no ability to use that stuff properly if you don't have a good, healthy microbiome. You don't have a healthy micronutrient base that you can actually absorb these food. It's not what you eat, it's what you can absorb. If we can improve that process, you're going to feel better. Obviously, you're going to improve that gut and serotonin that we just talked about. But it comes back to what you can really do and control in this time to make yourself feel so much better, and your immune system and everything else to go along with it.
Yeah, you literally took the words right out of my mouth. And I think the thing is it's remembering that without the micronutrients from your vegetables, you can't actually absorb or break down the macronutrients that you're intaking. So if you're just having your chicken and rice and you're not having the greens with them, what is the body supposed to do with them? Because the micronutrients all come from mostly those vegetables and the fiber that you're intaking. So making sure you're having half a plate a day. Yeah. I know, twice a day. Otherwise, one, it's not going to be making up the stools properly, which again affects the gut microbiome. It affects how your body is actually able to detox a little bit in terms of dragging all the toxins out. So even if you're having eggs for breakfast, now that you've got a little bit more time to make your breakfast at home, can you add in some spinach? Can you add in some tomatoes and mushrooms and that sort of thing? If you're going to have more of a high fat breakfast, eggs with avocado and a whole lot of veggies is going to be perfect for you. And then you've kind of ticked off some of those leafy greens and some really good nutrients at the start of the day, and then trying to get it through the rest of the day so that you're constantly fueling your body with stuff that's going to give you not only energy, but a whole lot of nutrients.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope all of your team have got away from your Cocoa Pops and protein shakes by now.
Yeah, 100%. Cool.
So what we want to dive into on this page as well, I think is something we can add to what you're currently doing, is making sure you have a real base of your health supplements. And when I ask a lot of people that, it's basically like a protein shake and some pre-workout. Both those things are probably something I'd eliminate for most people, and very much not at the start of your list. So for men especially, I want to make sure that zinc is on top of that list. It's something that we've both just talked about as being crucial. It's always low, or at least on your blood test, will something come through that is typically very low. Nutritionally wise, we just want to make sure we can keep these levels up. New Zealand soils, it seems that selenium is also on that list, but I think Brazil nuts and nutritionally what you bring in is also really important. But obviously, Sheree, I'll let you go through most of that list. What would you say are the main 3 or 4 we'd add in?
Yeah, so I'll definitely second you on the zinc, because zinc is also incredibly important for your immune system. It also can help in terms of if you've got something like leaky gut. If you know what that is, we can go into that a little bit deeper at another stage, but it can really help with the healing of that. So zinc is definitely number 1 up there, alongside some vitamin C. So especially during times of stress, we want to up the vitamin C, not only to protect the immune system, but it brings down our cortisol level, which is our stress hormone. And our cortisol level can be great in terms of it's a really good survival hormone, but over time it can start to erode the body. If you're trying to put on muscle, it's very catabolic, so it starts to break the muscle down. So it's making sure you've got that vitamin C to I always have a teaspoon of the powder first thing in the morning, just to bring my cortisol levels down, because quite often we start in that go, go, go mentality. And right now you need to be bringing those stress levels down, controlling what we can control.
I was going to ask with your how you did the vitamin C. I think powder is a great one. I've typically gone post-workout in the vitamin C. So I think same idea, like bringing cortisol down, right? It's good for us in the morning. It's good for us to have a spike or a elevation at some point, but we need to moderate it. Obviously, everybody hopefully now is going to cut down and be able to take that time to bring cortisol down. But in the typical work day, people are literally spending 8 hours in this high cortisol state. What do you think that's doing to the way you're trying to put muscle on and drop body fat? You're literally getting in the way of any of those processes functioning properly, or even being possible, because you're stressed out and triggered at everything around you. So 1, there's probably a mindset shift needed there, but 2, we can add some things in to improve those micronutrients, improve lowering those after things like exercise.
Yeah. So the other things I'd suggest, just generally speaking, and even more so during this time, is also your magnesium, because it has such an incredible, as you know, effect on recovery. It's going to help your sleep during this time, which we're going to get into a little bit more. It's going to calm the nervous system right down again. So not only are you taking care of yourself with breathing and meditation and slowing down in that respect, but you've got another supplement there to really support and nourish you. Also, your omegas, like your omega-3, your fish oils, are going to be really, really important too, because they're very anti-inflammatory, and it's just making sure the body's getting some really good sources of fats there.
Yeah, I'll second that on both of those. Again, so main 3 for me will always be zinc, magnesium, fish oil. Wherever I am in the country or the world, I'm going to stick to those being in the diet, regardless. On the typical Western diet, you're always going to find a lot of the fats you're eating, a lot of the typical foods are very inflammatory. If you can balance those ratios out, just be aware of having a little bit more omega-3s in your diet, and make a drastic difference to this healing process, to just functioning in the way you should. And magnesium, I know if I'm not adding in something there, sleep is always going to be an issue. So we're going to dive into that obviously further. But calming the nervous system down, if you know that you're getting lots of cramps or whatever else, it's going to come into that as well. Typically, if you're going too high in calcium, it can also be an issue obviously with cramps, but magnesium would be the base there as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant. Does that cover that page, you reckon?
Yeah, that was quite deep.
yeah, cool. Well, obviously, like we said, the leaky gut and going into these bigger concepts of the chronic inflammation everybody's in, having issues with being able to retain or absorb the information, the nutrients they're taking in, and the information probably, it's going to take a while to dive into those phases further, but it does allow us to understand that it comes at this more holistic view of really what's going on with your body, rather than, like you said, chicken and rice, and knowing that there's more of an absorption process needed there. And if it's not working, what can you do to really move forward? Yeah. Cool. So last one, and this is really obviously, you're going to look at it and think it's not nutrition, but it drastically makes a difference to nutrition in every regard. One that we're very aware of as nutritionists and coaches. If you're getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night, you're going to be dropping your insulin sensitivity by at least 60%, right? So what does that mean? Your ability to utilize carbohydrate at least is going to go significantly down. Your ability to, if you're using a lot more carbohydrate in your day, you're going to find you crave a lot more of that. You're going to find that you don't use it as properly. You're probably going to store a lot more. So if you're in this position where you look at a cupcake and you put the weight on, you probably want to look at your nutrition and your sleep together, and knowing that if you're getting these cravings, you're getting triggered, and your mindset and everything else is going along with it, you probably want to start with that sleep, and there's going to be a couple of things you can do to help.
Yeah. This is honestly, to me, this sleep comes before nutrition and even exercise. It's actually, in my opinion, the foundation for our health. There's a really good quote by someone that I know of that said the quickest way to an early grave is through a lack of sleep. And I don't think we prioritize sleep enough nowadays.
Yeah.
It's very easy to forego that in the sense of trying to get some more work done. I'd like you all to think that, you know, now that we might have a little bit more time on our hands, not traveling to and from work, we do actually maximize on this time to get some more sleep. I'm personally like super excited. It means no more 5 a.m. wake ups for me right now. I can get up at 6 and not have to stress as much.
Yeah, as long as you're not in bed till 10, I'll keep you to that.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are struggling right now to get some deep sleep, and I know personally last night I woke up about 3 or 4 times during the night because this is stressful. People are worried. It is bringing in things like that magnesium. It is switching the body back into, do you listen to a meditation before you go to sleep? Maybe something guided to take your mind off things. Do you bring in some deep breathing before you go to sleep if you are struggling with all of this? And just find ways to calm the nervous system down, because that's what's really going to help you get into that deep state of sleep. And if you do find you're waking up during the night, and you know, being able to work from home right now might mean that you may have a week or so of disrupted sleep, you struggle to get that deep sleep, don't beat yourself up if you have to go and have a bit of a power nap. You know, everyone's going through a lot, and I can't stress that enough, is like, just take some of the pressure off yourself in the sense of having to be perfect, having to get up and have this amazing routine day in, day out. Be aware that you're dealing with a whole lot of other things. You might have family at home. You might have, like, the work stress may have got even more significant because you're now having to work continue trying to bed still around 10 o'clock at the latest. Because those hours before midnight are worth double the hours after midnight in terms of sleep quality. So even if, you know, you're still getting that 8 or 9 hours sleep, but you're not going to bed till midnight, you're sleeping until 8 or 9 in the morning, your body's not getting the same quality of sleep during those hours as it would if you had gone to bed at 9:30 or 10. So making sure you keep those blue lights down, and you are taking the magnesium to help you go to sleep if that's something that, you know, you want to do. Turning off from too much devices or stimulus before bed, and just making sure you're not suddenly changing everything in your life all at once, and getting really, really good quality sleep.
Yeah, those are two really important things I want to emphasize there. Is one, you're looking at this as, you know, so many people come to you and it's like, oh, what's that percentage of nutritional training, right? Like it's 60% nutrition and 40% training or whatever. Well, one, I'm probably going to say it's 100% of both. Focus on getting them better. But before even those come into the loop, where does nutrition or sleep come into that scale, right? If nutrition and training is going well, but your sleep's terrible, none of those percentages matter, because you haven't built the base of which those will both improve, right? So definitely a massive foundation to nutrition getting better, your training getting better, and everything beyond that improving. So yeah, really, really important part to add there. And something I think I'll certainly add to that response when people ask what their percentage of nutrition focus should be. I'll be like, hang on, where's your sleep at, right? Because at the moment, I guarantee it's not on that scale. And so many people walk around with this badge of honor saying, you know, I only need 5 hours sleep a night to go through. It's like, well, yeah, cool, dude. Like, you're going to do that in a couple of days for and be running on caffeine. What's that going to do to your body on the inside that's eventually going to blow up, right? So especially in times like this where either you are more stressed out and you're looking for these coping mechanisms, be aware of how much time you're spending on your phone. If you do have more time and you can't go outside, you're going to be probably watching more TV or on more screens, but you need to be aware of protecting that night routine. What can you do to shut things down? Maybe you connect with the people in your household because you're stuck with them anyway. You get on, you read on a book, hopefully not a screen, whatever you can do to just calm down, do those activities, like you said, the meditation or something along those lines, to just protect that night routine. If you went to bed at 10, go to bed at 10. Don't try to drag that out until midnight and beyond that, because you'll feel sluggish, and this will just be a snowball effect from here.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with all of that.
Cool. Did you have any final things you want to go over there?
I think that was a really good little summary there that you did. Yeah, it is just mainly putting it as a priority, and remembering that, you know, right now we do need to prioritize our health more than ever. So if sleep is your main pillar it is struggling, put that as number one, you know, then start to think about the stress and everything. But just know that it's a whole picture thing. It's a very holistic practice to put it all together, and then you'll still continue to see the results even through this time.
Yeah. No, awesome. All right, well, that's massively valuable, Sheree, and thank you so much for coming on board. Obviously, we don't have any questions yet, but if there is anything around, just post in the comments and we can get back to that. As you can tell, Sheree's very well versed in this stuff. She knows what she's talking about, and we're in the process of building up an amazing 12-week program with you guys that will take us through how to optimize this stuff, how to look deeper, how to really look at this bigger picture and have control over what you have control over now, and diving in deeper. So if you are interested in that, you do have, you know, that's an area you need to focus on, and that, you know, what better time than now, push that reset, really focus on controlling nutrition and improving that. So obviously if we go for 12 weeks and we're in isolation for the first 4, we can build that base, we can get this awareness, you're going to learn a ton more, and like we said, that leaky gut and information and how to improve those things so that we can come out the other end knowing you're more healthy, you feel more energetic, and you're ready to get back in the gym or improve that exercise as you go. So if you do have any questions, you want to dive in deeper with those, obviously we can get on a call together, we can give you a couple of information. Obviously what we're doing through this is giving a whole lot of content like this to really bring your awareness to how much more you have control over. So as I did, I hope you found that valuable, and you can use, you know, all those resources to improve what you're currently doing. And if you have any questions, please reach out.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.